my slam time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your whole mind. This is my slam time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your whole mind.
Welcome to Work the Left Side. We are back. I am hyper hyped to announce tonight's guest. It is the one, the only, the sweetness that is CandyStan. How you doing, mate? You good?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah, mate, all good, all good. As always, 5 by 5. Too blessed to be stressed, as they say. Dude, looking forward to this. We wanted to sort of talk to you for a while. Obviously, I know sort of where you train, big fan of the temple. I love a lot of people from there. Love, obviously, since the start to see photos of you, like, you know, popping up Wrestle Island. Pete was bigging you up, obviously Peter Blackburn, through Wrestle Island and stuff like that. And as soon as I saw you, I was like, I like this guy. This guy looks like a character. This guy looks like he embodies professional wrestling. So I was like, right, I need to talk to this guy at some point. And then, yes, here we are.
Thank you very much, man. That was a very lovely introduction.
That's all right. It's true. Again, anybody who watches this, anybody who knows me, knows I love characters. You know, I love the fact that characters are coming back into wrestling. They seem to be at the forefront of everything, of stories, of promotions, of posters. And yeah, you know, CandyStan, you've just got to see the episode graphic for this one, and obviously the picture, you know, that you sent. And yeah, mate, it's just like, that is awesome. You know, that is just a character personified. And you know, I've never seen you in person, unfortunately, not yet, but I have seen you via, you know, Jeeb's reels or social medias or YouTube.
I finally made it to one.
You did. I know. I was like, yes. I love the fact that everybody kind of pops. Like, we're on a Jeebus reel. It's good times. But yeah, mate, I can kind of just tell, even though through the reels, you are 100%. You know, when you walk through that curtain, you are CandyStan.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and again, you know, we talked about this before we started the introductions and stuff. We'll get to the generic stuff down the line, but for me, when I'm talking to somebody like yourself, the first thing I want to talk about is the appreciation of characters in wrestling and why they matter, and obviously, you know, how you feel strongly about it because you are this massive, larger than life character.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, like, I'll be honest, I don't think I would be a wrestling fan if it was just pure wrestling. Like, I know there's a lot of genres of wrestling. I love that there's like something for everyone, but like for me, the character work, the stories, you know, like stuff that like makes more sense, but also silly stuff as well at the same time. Like, not taking it too seriously. That's kind of like what I really, really like to watch.
Well, that's it. I mean, obviously, as you grow up, you start to appreciate, like, you know, the pure stuff, the chain wrestling and stuff like that. I love all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, when you're a kid, you know, your first memories or your lasting memories are always of the characters, are always of, you know, the storylines kind of thing, you know. I mean, I know some people hate him. We did a Royally Rumbled episode last week with DJ King and obviously Bobby Cash. And it was the 92 Rumble. And, you know, Repo Man came out. And DJ King was like, I fucking hate Repo Man. But part of me was like, when I was a kid, Repo Man was the boss. You know, he's one of the characters I remember as a kid.
I think that was like, you said 1992?
Yeah. Well, way before your time, I know.
Not too much before my time, but like 6 years before my time, is it? Because I started watching wrestling like a really young age. I remember like I remember my mum telling me before that the wrestling was on, because my dad had wrestling on, and she felt like a proper kick in her stomach. So I seen, like, what was it? I think it was Rock and Austin or something.
Right.
And I was like, and then obviously as I got a bit older, not like but like kid age, I was still mad for wrestling. And then it was like a whole, who was big when I was like a child? I think it was getting to like 2004, I think. And it was like, you know, the Animal Batista, like, he just left Evolution. And I loved that whole build up.
Oh.
And I thought you were saying you didn't like Evolution. I'm like, what?
Oh no, I'm just saying sorry.
Evolution is like my favorite faction, like of all time. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, DX is a close second, I think, but Evolution was like just so genius and ahead of its time. You had like Ric Flair as like the past, but like still a legend, obviously. Triple H was the present, and then you had like Randy Orton and Batista in the future, and that was like, and it elevated every single one of them. And I'm not sure if a faction has done that for like decades. I'm not sure. I'd struggle to think of like one actually elevated like each member.
Not everybody across the board. Yeah, there wasn't like there wasn't I don't know, like a reject or just a cannon fodder in that group. Everybody, like you said, either was a bona fide star or became a bona fide star because of it.
They might have had a reject if they would have went with their second option. Remember, like seen the whole thing where it was meant to be Mark Jindrak. I love Jindrak, but he wouldn't have fit Evolution. I don't think. I just don't think it would have been as big.
Oh god!
And then you would have had the cannon fodder with the. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
It didn't even fit him.
But yeah, that's all. But again, that worked because of the storylines that were involved. You became emotionally invested in the characters. You saw the characters grow, obviously, like Orton and Batista. But they gave them something to get the teeth into. So, I mean, for me, obviously, Randy Orton's stuff with Mick Foley, that was fucking mind blowing, and that elevated Orton tenfold. It wasn't just the fact he was in Evolution; it was just his feud with Foley,
giving him a rivalry with like a big time. Name.
But I mean, at this time, though, obviously we talked about that, but there wasn't any really larger than life characters at that point. That was kind of when it was the ruthless aggression era. And it wasn't like as crazy as like the mid-90s, where everybody just had a job and that was the gimmick kind of thing. This time it was more they were all athletes. But I think we've kind of started, getting back to. For me, the most recent example I can give you of an awesome character would be Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, I actually do. Like, I don't really watch like AEW too much. I'm also not one of them fans who's like AEW so shit. The ratings, you know what I mean? Like, I don't give. I think wrestling's just wrestling. It's fun. Just enjoy it. But like Orange Cassidy is one of the ones that I actually do really like. I've got a couple like Orange Cassidy. Surprisingly, Will Ospreay. It's just really good. Like, there's no denying. A lot of everything he does is just amazing. I was really, really big on. It's kind of fizzled at the minute. Is MJF?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know how his star power fizzled a bit, but it has really like gone down from where he was because he was amazing. And he still is. He's got better in the ring. But it's
momentum. That's my biggest beef with AEW is they just can't maintain momentum for some reason. I don't know why. The stars shine bright for like 6-12 months and then just
like they got Megan Bain at the minute, and they're building her like a star, but it's also like squashing everyone in their path. I don't know, and it's also it's a lot because like Megan Bain, I believe, because I do keep up with the stories a bit. Megan Bain. Oh, was it? She squashed Thunder, and then she's in a feud with Chris Statlander, but now she's going after Tony Storm. Is it? It's like a lot in one.
Yeah, too much. It's just like, but that's the thing. Nothing matters because it's so much. But that's what I mean. Orange Cassidy for me though was the example of just a kind of an original character, somebody that you've not really ever seen before. But the character work being key. You buy into that character. He is that character. He embodies it. And he works into his matches, so it just works on every level, kind of thing. But yeah, my whole point, so I really rounded the house's kind of way saying it was, that's coming back now, and I can see that more and more. Not just in AEW or WWE, but on the British scene. There's just seems to be a lot more character work, which I personally think is fucking awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Crowley's one of my favourites now. I'm not gonna lie, but obviously we'd probably get to him in a bit, but.
Well, there is no structure here, dude. Like I said, you said the man's name and he will just don't say it 3 times. I don't need him behind me or anything like that. But
there's a chance, a very real possibility with Crowley, to be fair. He makes anything happen.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Is just mischievous. But mate, let's talk about it now because I've been itching to just that was huge. You know, it must have been. You know, I can imagine when Peter was talking to you about it, and you was like, I just mate. I just imagine your jaw dropping and being like, obviously, I mean, you're good. You are what Crowley is. You know, he's
on another level.
Yeah.
He's
what was it like working with him?
oh my god, it's amazing. It genuinely was. Like, he showed up to the venue on time, well, early, obviously, you know, the ins and outs. He was absolutely just fantastic. Like, obviously, we're probably going to peel back the curtain either way. He's an absolute, for someone who's nicknamed the Spectacular, you know, he's a lovely person. Like, so nice. He guided me through, like, we were in the match and there was parts that we didn't really plan, and he'd kind of like almost give me like a little signal, and but then some of it I had to think on the fly, and I was like, oh fuck, what do I do? Because like I'm like, I can't. I need to ask, actually, can you swear on this?
Yeah, go for it. Sorry, mate. I normally
Oh, okay. I
go
can't
for it.
shit the bed in this fucking match. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I
All
really
right,
can't afford to mess this up. Like, because before this, and this isn't me being like ungrateful. I'm very grateful for every opportunity I've had. Like, obviously, Peter's really looked after me, really, you know, took care of me and stuff. But like before this, I hadn't really had a story, to be honest. Because I started out at the Temple shows again, and my first match, and I've seen you talk to Billy about it, was Billy O'Keefe versus CandyStan. What a bloody train wreck that was. Because that was my first proper match, so Billy had to carry me through the whole thing. And then I also neglected how important cardio is. Like, really, really, really key. Because we got like 2 minutes into the match, and he got me in a headlock, and I went, I'm fucking knackered. I had to run off the whole thing off just a head of steam, and I just really had to. I didn't give the fans anything apart from sweets, which worked.
Yeah.
That was basically just. It's pretty cool to see, kind of the evolution of the CandyStan character, because it started out like, oh, these fans are happy you're there because you're giving them free sweets, right? And then as it's gone on a bit more, as I've like got a bit better and learned a bit more, you know, like got more experienced, and it's become more like the fans are actually really behind me. They still want the sweets, obviously. Can't be me without it, but they still don't just care. I don't think, anyway. They might, could be waffling, but I think they don't just care about the sweets now. They care about the character and what I'm doing, and they want to get behind me. And it's just so grateful for every little moment. But like before, anyway, rambled on a bit there. Before Crowley, I was in just like a Temple show and then like a Rumble, and then the only match on the main show I had before that, like not Temple shows, I believe, before the story, was against the Unknown. You know, like the whole Willy Wonka Glasgow experience, Scotland thing. that was an experience. But before that, yeah, it was just that, which like in essentially is a gimmick match, in it. Like that was purely just CandyStan versus the Unknown. Peter capitalized on it. Fair play, like, he's got a genius mind for it. Obviously, it was relevant at the time. That's what happened. And after that, it was like nothing. And then had the group chat, like a screenshot in the group chat, which was like the initial Crowley call out. And they tagged me, and I went, "What the?" You know, I was like, because I hadn't fully researched Crowley, but I'd heard of him. Like, everyone had already talked about him, and I was like, so I knew how big of a wrestler and character he was, and then I was like, it's a joke. What? Like, what's happening here? Like, I didn't really know what to think of it, because at the time, like I've said this before, I had a chippy with my fiance at the time, and obviously I think it was chips, cheese, and gravy, and it's really rough on the stomach. And I seen that, and instantly my stomach went, no. Because I was like, I can't decline this because it's a massive, massive match. But I was so scared. I was like, I didn't even have excitement at first. I just had fear. I was like, I've just gone from wrestling the bloody Unknown to wrestling one of the best wrestlers in the UK. I was like, what? You know what I mean? It's crazy. There's a crazy.
Yeah, no gradual progression. Just like
no, it wasn't. It's just 0 to 100 real quick, just straight away. Scared the shit out of me. Not gonna lie.
Hey,
Quite literally.
dude. But again, not saying it for the sake of saying it, but obviously, Peter must have seen something. He wouldn't have made that match. He wouldn't have put you in that position unless he thought, you had the cojones to do it. Unless you had the skills to carry it off, because that was huge, and that would have had a lot of eyes on it. outside of the normal Island fan base. So
that was the scary part.
Huge pat on your back, though.
Thank you. Scary as shit. The crowd, honestly, I think made that match. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but if you haven't, I have been informed that it will be on the Island YouTube as well, along with the other show, the whole show, like soon enough. So if everyone subscribes to that, then it'll show up and you'll see it. But like the crowd was like, I know obviously it's not like, it's weird to say like, oh, the crowd was electric, because like, people usually refer to that like a WrestleMania or something, but the crowd really were, for like what it was, were absolutely electric, and I couldn't have asked for anything better. It was mind blowing.
Like you said, though, that's the connection that they're forming now with the self kind of thing, with the character. Like it's what I said, you're not just the guys giving them sweets anymore, so they like you. That sounds like a really creepy line, but you know what I mean.
Not at all, mate. It's a creepy character if you look too much into it.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, ooh.
Outside of wrestling, it's just a nonce. No.
Oh God, yeah, just don't ever put that on the poster. Outside of wrestling.
The candy nonce, no, not happening.
Deleted. But it's just like I say, you're doing what you're doing. Obviously, the fans they're starting to be entertained. They're starting to enjoy it, and they're starting to make that connection. Again, we talked about before. I've said it loads of times, but that's the benefit of having characters. It gives something. It gives people something to buy into, something for them to be emotionally invested in. But it also means, you can do less, but it means more. You can do a simple thing, but get a huge reaction. That's the benefit of it. I think that's why so many people are doing it, because they're starting to realize, it's
easier on your body.
It's easier on your body. You can work smarter, and the fans pop more because they're more emotionally invested.
Yeah, like obviously I have like a few tricks up my sleeve to like pull out for like big matches, which I was supposed to like do some for the Crowley match, but I'll save that for now. But for the most part, it is kind of just basically exactly what you just described. It's like doing less for more, essentially.
Because you don't need to. Like I sort of said, why? I mean, I love, your 5-star. What I'll call them New Japan matches, or strong style stuff like that, basically. But if you can do that and have a storyline involved, that's a 10-star match. It's like normally it's either one or the other. Normally you have like a banging match, and you're not really emotionally invested in it. You just appreciate it, or you have a great story match which you're emotionally invested in, and that's what makes it 5-star. But if you can if you somehow get to that level where you can do both, that's like goosebumps.
Yeah. So like for an example, the most recent one I can think of that would probably fit that quite well is I'm not sure if you've seen it, Charles Crowley versus Spike Trivet, or the Triviet.
Yeah.
Because I watched the development and all that, and obviously because of how great they both are, everything was just amazing. Like the build up to it, the initial stuff, like how real it got. Like fair play to Crowley for letting it, and obviously, but that was amazing. That's what I would say. Like, is probably fits your example quite well of like great character work, great like story and everything, but also a great match, great wrestling.
That's it, man. Yeah, like I said, that's the whole Crowley thing. So that ties us back into, like I was sort of saying before, you've got to be at a certain level to work with that guy. So I hope, you kind of came through that match, and after that match, you took a second to appreciate, mate, you did it. You know what I mean? You had this match, you held your own, you both came out of it looking awesome.
He did a lot for me. I'm not gonna lie. He put me over and everything like that as well. It was like that wasn't anything I could have ever expected. And obviously, if I could go back, there would be some things I could change. I would change because obviously you watch it back, and yeah, as they always say, you're your own worst critic. And every time I leave a show, I'll watch a match back and I'll be like, oh, I could have done this better, I could have done that better. And so I'll be beating myself up for like days about it and be like messaging the people. I'm like, I'm so sorry, it was so shit. And they're like, no, you're fine. It's like, no, it was terrible. But like, I did enjoy the Crowley match. Like while I was in it, I do enjoy watching parts of it back. Obviously, I know, like I said, I could have changed some things, but obviously, with my experience level at the minute, that was probably as good as you were gonna get.
Good. Well, I sort of say it exceeded. I would sort of say what. Well, you know, I'm talking here like I kind of know how long you've been around, but obviously people don't. Yeah, I mean, just as a reminder, you've not been around. I want to say you've been around for less than 2 years, haven't you?
Trying to think of when I started. It might be about like 2 years or something. Yeah, I don't think it's
I
like
would say
it's
around
not
about
crazy long.
I think it's just under, if I remember correctly, but I can't remember. Like I sort of said, you know, sometimes the dates don't always line up and stuff. But I mean, to be having that match this early into your journey, mate, I thought it's awesome. So yeah, you know, I think that's amazing. But you know, talk about the training and how long you've been kicking about for. We've mentioned the temple shows previously. So obviously, again, if people aren't aware, you pretty much lace up the boots and do your training at Temple Island.
Yeah,
Under the tutelage, shall we say, of Mr. Sean Only.
I certainly do. Yeah, about to just kiss Sean Only's ass for like the rest of the podcast now. Anyway. Well, no. To be fair, like I always say this, and I don't think it's ever going to change. But I've had like a decent bit of trainers, like different trainers come in, and I've learned something from each and every one of them, and they've all been fantastic. But to this day, at the minute, anyway, no one's topped Sean Only for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's just I don't know what it is. He's just a great. Well, I mean, his character's a bitch, but I mean, horrible sod. But he spiked my head through the ground twice. I can't big him up too much, but no. Out of character, he's absolutely amazing. Like he really, really puts a lot into each and every one of us, and that's why I think we're getting like better and better, because like he's not gonna just. He's someone who will tell you how it is. You know what I mean? Like if you've done shit, though, he's not gonna go, well, you were fucking shit, fuck off, get out. You know what I mean? But he'll be like, okay,
Yeah,
could have done this better, or whatever. And you know for a fact he really, really, truly cares. Because if you keep making the same mistake that he's told you countless times to fix, like I've done in the past, he really will not lose his shit. No, I'm not going to make him sound like a tyrant or anything, but he will get like very passionate about it and be like, I've told you time and time again, like this and everything. Like I just want you guys to be the best you can be and stuff like that. Like and I do believe it. He generally does just do a lot for us.
I agree. I mean, well, again, you know, you're not the first person. You know, I've reeled off the names beforehand. Obviously, you know, like I sort of said, you know, Billy, Sammy, Gung Ho, J-Ro. You know, they all kind of
need more hands.
Yeah, that's it. And I think, you know, Gung Ho kind of credited him on his episode, sort of saying like, you know, he was kind of coasting. And then he had a match, and then he asked for Sean's, you know, feedback on it. And Sean was like, well, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. Like I said, not in a gnarly way, but in a constructive way. But it made Gung Ho be like, oh shit, I'm not quite as good as I thought I was. I need to go work on this. But
sometimes you need like hits the ego to come down a bit.
Exactly. And he credits that, you know, he sort of says that in the nicest possible way. You know, he needed that to hear that and he'd be like, right, okay, I need to up my game. And that's kind of started learning from Sean and being like, right, here we go. And you know, well, yeah, Mr. Gung Ho he's on the next True Grit poster, so you know he's doing all right for himself, as is Sammy and Billy as well. So
it's really cool to see them doing so well. I'm not gonna lie, like because obviously I really like Muttley, I really like Sammy, I really like Billy. I like them all basically, but like it is just really like feel like because wrestling's so massive, like so massive, like not even like WWE, AEW, anything like that. Like just like the smaller indie, like 200, 300 shows. And I didn't even realize how big it was because I didn't keep up too much. But there's so many wrestlers, there's so many characters, there's so many things. Like loads that are still in training that haven't even got the chance to show. Like they've got brand new. So obviously it is easy to get lost in the shuffle. And I feel like the names you just listed there are like some of like the most underrated talents in the scene right now. Like Billy, especially. I mean, he gets booked plenty of places, but he's still not like. I mean, for me, I'd put him in like TNA or something. You know what I mean? Like somewhere high up. Sammy, J-Ro, Gung Ho, they're all. I just love them. I love them all. They're absolutely brilliant. They've helped me a lot as well over time.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that shit as well. I just like when people are, bigging up other people, appreciating. But again, when I spoke to them, they kind of sort of said, they've, especially at Temple, it's all kind of like, just got this crazy family vibe going on, but you all kind of help to elevate each other as well, kind of thing. You know what I mean? You can give each other a little bit of being like, a little bit of not criticism, but encouragement or
no criticism.
Or what this? Yeah, okay.
Criticism,
yeah, criticism as well. Yeah. That's it. But it's coming from a good place.
Yeah.
So,
no one's saying it to like make you shitter than you are. Everyone always wants to. Well, as far as I know, anyway, everyone always wants to see you succeed and do the best you can. And there's some people who are training there that you probably haven't even heard of or seen yet, but you will like in the coming like years or months or whatever. And they're just very good. Like they've just trained there for a long time. They've just up their craft all the time, and obviously that comes with because of like constructive criticism and stuff, of course, because it has to be constructive. There's no point in saying you're shit, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? It has to be like, okay, but you could do this better and you could do that better. Sometimes you have to just flat out tell someone that ain't gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work. Like there's some things that like won't work at all, but you'll never know until you try them.
I mean, obviously, we're mentioning those guys. The place I would say they call home away from the Temple would be sort of, BlackHeart. And yeah, you mean some of the Temple boys, obviously yourself, Gallus, and a few others ventured over to BlackHeart, I think late last year, I want to say. Was it early this year? I've lost track of time.
It was definitely it's got to be last year. It definitely couldn't be this year because.
No, it was. Yeah, it's October. It's about October time last year, I think.
Yeah, because this year started, I think, with me versus Pele. Unless that was last year. Oh, dear. No, that was last year. Never mind. Yeah, no, this year started with me versus Crowley. Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, man, you guys came over to BlackHeart, and I was speaking to him on Monday. I didn't make this connection. I'm kind of kicking myself now. I didn't mention it then, just to be able to get both sides of the story. But it was yourself against Mr. Seb Mercer at BlackHeart. How did you find Guiseley, man? The Guiseley Theatre, it's an awesome looking venue.
That was really cool, actually. I really enjoyed it. Like, that was massive for me because I don't really travel too much outside of my like hometown, but like of Candyland. But otherwise known as Wrexham. But yeah, a different kind of candy. Anyway, losing track. Yeah, the Guiseley Theatre was really cool, man. I mean, like. Because obviously we first got in there. As soon as I walked in, I went into the changing rooms. Instantly, I was greeted by none other than Gun come up. They're like, "You're right, mate. How's it?" Do you know what I mean? Like instantly, a very friendly environment. Everyone was just very chill with each other. I think they were setting up the ring or something, and we were getting changed stuff because they used to do. I don't think they do it anymore. They used to do BlackHeart Unleashed.
Unleashed, yeah.
And they'd film it. Am I allowed to say this? I don't even know. This is probably been said before, right? They used to film it before the actual, shows, like a good few hours before the shows, and the crowd would obviously be the wrestlers, and you know that because whenever if you go back to them, you can just hear J-Ro's voice above everyone else's in the crowd, and that's how I figured it out because I didn't know originally, so they were in the ring doing that. And before I went against Mercer on the actual, in front of a crowd, I wrestled Sean Only. It was a squash match, but but it was still like that was the first time I'd ever because they were like, "Oh yeah, but you're gonna go against Sean," and I was like, oh, that's fucking sick. I can't believe, because I've been waiting for my time to go against my trainer like for a long time. And I finally got it and I was buzzing. And he was very helpful. You know, he sorted out everything. And then at the end, he caved my head into the mat and finished me off with 1, 2, 3. And everyone, you can hear everyone's worried expressions, because what I think, it made quite a noise, hit the mat, and the noise went like booming through the place, and everyone went, oh! That was the best one I've ever. That looked so real. I was like, oh, it was. It was.
It's real.
I was
You
still
felt
learning
it.
how to spike at the time, so I smacked my head on the mat and went, oh, dizzy a bit afterwards, but
But hey, it got the effect. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, obviously, yeah, you know, whenever I speak to anybody, that's always one of the things they want to tick off is like, you know, whoever's trained them or whoever their favorite, you know, teacher is. They're like, right, I want to match against this person. I need to have a match against this person at least once. You know, if they
I
have
had
a
fortunate
series
thing
of
of having it
matches.
twice.
Nice. So again, it's just, I can only imagine it. It just, I want to say it's fun, but it's just the best learning experience you can have. It's one thing to kind of listen to the guy talk or have him run through things with you, but to be in a match with him, that is next level kind of experience.
That was mind blowing for me, yeah. And then I feel like, get back to the Mercer in a minute, obviously, but like further down the line, Wrestle Island, they Sean on the open challenge, and I came out and answered it because he was in a feud with Gallo at the time. So I was like I was fortunate to be a very, very small, minute part of their, you know, great story. I came out, you know, did a few like stuff, and I thought, oh fucking. And then I was really going well. I watch it back. I'm like, oh, that was decent. That was decent. Oh no, because like I don't do it anymore for this reason. Because I picked Sean up for the GTS. I don't think I knew how to properly do it at the time or execute it, because like you just see like my knee like come up, but then I couldn't actually, like, he was. I mean, he's obviously, you know, he was
It's
helpful.
pretty cool.
But he's tall, he's heavy. I had him up on I struggled to get him up on my shoulders, and I'm like, no, pure adrenaline. Ugh. Adrenaline in my soul. I got him up, and I couldn't throw him up for the GTS, so he kind of ends up just. I tried to play it off a bit, and I think I kind of did, but like everyone knew. But I jumped him up in the air, ish, like the tiniest, like a centimeter off the ground, and then like my knee went up a bit, but it was way away from his head, and my head just hit his head instead, or like kind of looked like it did. So I had to afterwards, because it botched. I went, oh my head, oh, and then after that, obviously I got to the turnbuckle or middle rope. He did the whole Samoa Joe walk away thing, and then stomped my head through the mat again, and then chucked me out, and then stomped Gallows' head through a chair. I have such love
What
for
you
him.
say? But you was there, you was involved. I was good thinking though, like you sort of said, just sell the head bump. And like, yeah, okay, right, we'll kind of cover that up and
Hoping for the best. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It was the best I could do.
dude. But yeah, obviously, yeah, Mr. Mercer.
Yeah.
Again,
Mercer.
you know, he was talking. You know, he said that he's been to the temple a few times as well. He's kind of like been to various schools and like kind of likes to dip his toe in. You know, get a few.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
from
I've
here
seen
and
him
there.
on Pursuit Pro Wrestling. I think I've seen him go to as well.
Yeah.
That's blowing up like crazy. But yeah, Mercer was like a lovely, lovely guy. I mean, like, he was very helpful through like everything. We had everything sorted. We're all good, and then we come to the entrance. But I didn't realize how loved Mercer was in BlackHeart. So I felt like I got thrown to the sharks a bit, because like I'm a face coming out. You're meant to love me, but then everyone's like, "Come on, Mercer." And I'm like, "What the fuck do I do? I'm not going to be a hometown hero or whatever." And I come out and I give them sweets and hope for the best, like praying, like, "Come on, please cheer me." Kind of did, kind of worked. And then I got in the ring and I was like, I'd already on like my cardio was like sorted and everything at this point. My experience was a little bit better, but at the same time, it was a brand new venue. It was a brand new venue, brand new crowd. I got in and the lights or whatever, something must have been in there. So I fucking shit the bed, and I wish I would have shown a bit more in that match. But again, Mercer helped me through the whole thing. Fair play to him. and he carried it to a half decent match. So
yeah. Oh yeah, good man. I enjoyed it, man. So it's like, you know, again, you can kind of look at it in one way. I would look at it as another way as a fan. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought, you know, it was a good match. It's just, yeah, I think obviously you've got to be overly critical of it, but from a fan's perspective, yeah, man, you did the job. You turned up. Like I said, Mercer's Mercer at BlackHeart. You kind of you're facing an uphill battle. You know, coming out being, you know, that kind of a face character, but then being like, oh crap, you know, they are cheering the other guy as well. So it's kind of putting you on that back foot straight away.
Face first face. My opinion, it's so hard to get a face to first face to work.
Yeah, there's got to be some reason behind it. It's not just going to happen just out of randomness. There's got to be that kind of reason behind it, you know, whether it's a respect thing or like a best of 7 or
like a story behind it works quite well. But like, if it's not a story, it's like
as a one-off, it's very hard to sell it, basically.
It really is.
But well, you just sorry, man, I didn't even realise you were from Wrexham. I just kind of automatically made me want to ask you. Have you ever seen Ryan Reynolds kicking about?
Not in person, no, but he's everywhere, isn't he? Like I want, like, this town was like not known at all, and then Ryan Reynolds and oh no, what's his name? Rob, is it?
Rob, yeah, Fat Matt from Always Sunny.
I don't know. I haven't seen that show, to be fair. I had no idea who he was. I do like TV shows, to be fair. Like I do prefer TV shows to like. Well, it depends. Anyway, yeah, that's the autism. That's sorry.
That's what I did.
Reynolds and some.
Just call him Rob,
but they've been here.
Rob something. I can't never. I always forget his surname. I'm a massive fan, but I
feel bad because obviously, like, everyone's like Ryan Reynolds and that guy. You know what I'm saying? But Ryan Reynolds has been here. I think Margot Robbie, Will Ferrell. I haven't seen any of these in person, but Channing Tatum. It was a big one, wasn't there? I've already said Will Ferrell's probably Hugh Jackman to promote Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I think they've had a few more, but I've not ever seen him. No.
It's crazy though, dude. Just like like I said, this little town. It's like, you know, I've got a bottle of aviation gin, an empty bottle of aviation gin somewhere that's got the Wrexham, you know, shirt or badge on it, like a limited edition bottle. It's like, wow, you know, I was this close to buying a freaking Wrexham shirt at one point. I was like, why? I stopped myself. Like, why am I doing this?
Don't do that. Can you sign it, Ryan? Never seen him. Like, he's normally mobbed, if he is anyway, because like my fiance has seen him out and about, but he was mobbed by people.
I
think that's security. I'm not sure.
It's huge. But yeah, sorry, dude. I just have to mention that because I don't know.
That's no reason, man. I love Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, because I'm a massive mark for Ryan Reynolds. But yeah, on a sidebar, if you take anything away from this besides what we're talking about with wrestling, Netflix, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, smash through it. One of the best TV shows ever made, in my opinion.
I think I need a new show anyway, because me and my fiance started watching The Office, but you know, the American version.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen it ever before, or like apart from like little clips. So we watched it, and we've got to like season 6, and it's kind of, I'm not sure you've seen it, but it kind of fizzles out, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was amazing. I was loving it, and if I wanted to watch it every night, it's like watch like 5 episodes every night. We lose track of time, and we got season 6, and we're like, it's just kind of getting a bit dull, isn't it?
Yeah, they kind of pushed it. They jumped the shark, as the saying goes, I think. So
they made it 5 seasons without being boring, to be fair. So
that's impressive. But yeah, same thing with Always Sunny. It's only like 20 minutes an episode. Danny DeVito turns up in series 2, and from that point, series 1 was good. It kind of, but from series 2 onwards, mate, it just escalates.
Like the introduction and then the main course. Yeah.
As soon as Danny DeVito turns up,
yeah, DeVito's amazing. It will be a very, very sad day when he eventually, passes on.
That's the thing.
Everyone's childhood, I believe.
Oh, I mean, you talked about. I mean, we'll get back to wrestling at some point in a minute, but you get on TV shows and films. You know, I'm quite happy talking about that stuff as well. But yeah, DeVito is my childhood. You know, I mean, I grew up, you know, watching like Twins, Romancing the Stone, Jewel of the Nile, just freaking Matilda, Batman Forever. He is the Penguin. It's like, damn.
You got a really big range of movies, to be fair, and because you wouldn't necessarily expect there'd be so many roles for him because with his height and stuff and the way he's built, but he's just smashes every role he does, really, isn't he? And there's a lot of them are quite different. I think there's some kind of similar, but most are one's very, very different from the other, and it's geez, man, he's very, very good.
Oh, the dude's versatile. Like a mofo. And yeah, he's just I think he's awesome. And he's just, I told me I was watching something recently, and I don't even think he was advertised as being in it. And I watched it, and I was like, oh, I was done. It just popped up for 10 seconds. I was like, I was done in video, and that's going to bug me now. What that was? But yeah, he just makes a cameo in it. It's like, oh shit, that's cool.
Could be friends.
It was. It was a Tim Burton film or something I watched recently. It's going to bug the shit out of me. No, we'll come back to it. I'll post it in the comments or something at some point. On the episode description, it'll be that film was. I'll pop it in there. So, but then again, that's pulling us back. I can tie this back into wrestling. That's pulling us into characters. You sort of mentioned there, DeVito's versatility, just being able to do this, and this, and this, and this. So obviously when you're working on the CandyStan character, did you pull inspiration from? I don't want to obviously sort of, you mentioned the Willy Wonka thing previously, kind of thing, but was there, besides the obvious, obviously the Willy Wonka kind of thing, did you get inspiration from anything else? Do you kind of watch films or TV shows or music videos or anything, and just pull inspiration from it?
So originally it just started with I like Willy Wonka, and I kind of figured no one's ever done this gimmick. Well, I searched it up to make sure no one had done the gimmick, but yeah, no one had done the gimmick yet. So I was like, okay, I'm taking that. And now, as obviously that was the base idea, and now as it's gone on a bit more, I've tried to watch different things and kind of pull from them a little bit. So I kind of tried to start doing a bit more silly with Jim Carrey, kind of The Mask kind of thing. All of that is bordering Crowley, to be fair. And then Pete said initially, an extension of self. I've kind of wanted to I've started to evolve the CandyStan a little bit more than just sweets. Obviously I'm still a CandyStan and candy and everything, but also a very childish character, someone that the kids can relate to and stuff, and because I'm not gonna lie, in real life I am just I'm quite childish, and that's kind of it's just basically me, but the volume turned up a lot.
Well, that's it. I mean, again, they sort of say, I think when it comes to characters, there's two mindsets. You either want to have something that you can pull inspiration from and just turn it up to 11, or you just want to flip it on the head and just go in a completely opposite direction. So it's got to be one or the other. Like I said, mate, I am totally there with you. I relate. I am one of the biggest kids you will ever meet. Before we start talking, you clocked. I've got a life-size Ted behind me. He's my Thunder buddy for life. If I start hearing lightning, mate, me and Ted on that set, he just cuddled up.
Yeah, I don't blame us. I got a Wonka bear. Well, I did have a Wonka bear, and then my little girl stole it, so I don't have one anymore. But I did love my Wonka bear. I used to sleep with it at night. I'm not gonna lie. It's an exclusive.
There we go.
As to the character, definitely that was the only reason.
Yeah, just method acting. Just kind of getting
exactly.
Into it. That's it.
Method acting outside of it.
Dude, that's great. Well, again, so we'll get Gene Wilder or Johnny Depp.
Oh, Gene Wilder.
Yes, but
it's Gene Wilder all the way, because when I was younger, it's so weird because I've been up and down. So when I was younger, I didn't mind the Johnny Depp movie because I grew up on the Gene Wilder one. Said on videotape and stuff. Didn't mind the Johnny Depp one, and then when I got a little bit older, teenagehood, I hated it. And then I've watched it again a bit more recently, and I quite like it, but it doesn't it doesn't even top the new one, to be honest. You know, the one with Timothée Chalamet,
Yeah.
because I feel like I don't know, it's just. I mean, obviously it's different. The Johnny Depp one. I mean, you could probably pull some things from that Johnny Depp one. To be fair, like he did a good job. It's just it's probably more faithful to the book, but I don't know. I just when I looked at like Gene Wilder's one as a child, I was like instantly like blown away. As soon as he left the chocolate room and he opens it and it's all the, you know, like the edible grass and all the was it the mushrooms or something that's made of like cream and stuff, and like the chocolate river, of course. And then I seen like, and then the Johnny Depp one, you watch it and it's like, it's still like cool to see and everything, but it's very, very CGI'd.
Yeah.
It feels more like, although that was kind of a set, but it was like, yeah, I mean, like I don't know if there's something different about it.
It's lacking the soul. We want to say it doesn't have as much soul as the original. Like you tend to find with a lot of films, you know, again, whether it's CGI or whatever, but it's just even though it's a film, it doesn't feel as genuine. You're not kind of it's just it feels fake. It sounds daft when we're talking about films because obviously it's a film, it's all fake, but it feels fake.
Yeah, another one as well, because like obviously the second one, Johnny Depp didn't hide Wonka's weirdness or like creepiness or whatever at all, whereas like which is cool and everything. But I like the first one because there's something so sinister about Willy Wonka. It's more of a horror movie. I think I've said this before. It's more like a horror movie than a classic family movie. Like he's just got this weird presence to him, and I think he knew that as well. I think that's why he played it that way. Like you've probably seen it, like where he says he wouldn't have done the movie if he wasn't allowed to do the limp at the start. That was because obviously then the kids wouldn't know, or the adults wouldn't know, both wouldn't know if he was telling the truth from that moment on. And I just thought that was so genius. Like you wouldn't do the whole movie just for that one. No, of course not, because that wouldn't then allow him to act off of that.
That's
amazing.
That's the character in it. I mean, I've read somewhere some sort of like fan theory where it's not a massive leap to go from Willy Wonka to Pennywise, or you know something crazy like that.
For some reason, I would have attributed Mary Poppins to Pennywise.
But that as well. That is another. Yeah, I think that's another one. It's like different characters.
I think only in the remake version, because it starts off really creepy for some reason, like the red balloon floating, and I'm like, oh. And then it goes to nice, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Was that Penny? What the fuck? Like, I don't think it was out at that point. Like, not the
remake.
What's his name? Bill Skarsgård, not the Bill Skarsgård version.
Yeah, Alex Skarsgård.
I do like both, but like I'm much more of a bigger fan of the Tim Curry one.
Sure.
There's more that's another character actually that I was pulling from a bit actually now that I remember the silliness of Tim Curry in it. But he has like a little bit of sinister as well. It's kind of what I like to do in my promos.
That's the thing though with the CandyStan character now, with this character, you've kind of got that versatility where you could go in different ways if you wanted to, kind of thing. It's like again, I don't know how much stuff you see from this sort of side. You know, quickly touched on Pursuit earlier about Mercer being there and stuff, but you know, there's a character doing the rounds of Axel the Clown, and I was kind of thinking,
say that.
yeah, but I was kind of at one point I want to see him snap. I want to see that kind of sinister side. And I can see it with CandyStan as well. At some point, you know, somebody's going to push you too far or something, and you just gonna break, and it's just going to be really weird. And you just do like a really sinister smile in slow motion or something, and everybody just knows. Shit.
Oh shit! Shit's at the fan. CandyStan's turn heel. I, at the minute, I don't have any desire to turn heel whatsoever. I don't think the character's built up enough at all yet. But I'm just enjoying it. But originally, the character before I knew what I was doing or anything was kind of like supposed to be like kind of like the Gene Wilder, where it was like, it's this nice, happy, you know, guy and everything, but he's got like a sinister side to him. Like, why is he giving kids? Well, let me rephrase that. Actually, that's not gonna look good. Why is he? Why is he so happy all the time? He's getting pushed around all the time. Why is he happy? What's going on? He thinks he lives in a candy. What's going on? And then like, that's why like when with the promos, and I take a lot from Bray Wyatt as well as Pee Wee Herman. Is it? Yeah. Pee Wee Herman has a very similar, like Bray Wyatt and him had a very similar obviously Pee Wee was first, but like, so I kind of do that with my promos where it's like now it's kind of evolved from I'm going to see you in this match or whatever, the Candy to like welcome to the CandyStan show, and you know what I mean, and like it's like I almost kind of like if I need to, I can do like a short promo. Like if a promoter was like, hey, can you keep this promo to like 90 seconds? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Like it won't be as like fun, but I can do that for sure. But then like for me, like the promos I post are kind of just to flesh out the character a little bit more and like like little episodes, and I don't really post them too much because I want to keep them like a bit more special rather than just having them. This is a promo and this promo and this promo. I do them all the time at home.
You want it to mean something. That's
Exactly.
it. When you do it, it's kind of like, yeah, less is more, quality over quantity kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the vibe I had going for it.
I remembered, sorry, just to rewind, talk about Danny DeVito popping up in a film that I saw recently that I wasn't even credited for. It was Beetlejuice 2. He's at the start of Beetlejuice 2 and like the
I think I've seen that online somewhere.
Yeah. So sorry, I was going to put me off. I had to get out there. But yeah,
I haven't seen Beetlejuice 2, I don't think, but I've seen the first one obviously and love that one. I don't know about the second one, I've never seen it. But I know it.
Check it out, man. If you get a chance. Again, people hate on it for the sake of hating on it. I reckon. I think it was fun. It captured the awesomeness of Beetlejuice. It's never going to be better than the first one. You go into it knowing it's not going to be as good as the first. You'll enjoy it. Jobs are good.
A lot of people are very like nostalgia blind, I feel.
Yeah.
Like some things could be absolute shit, but like you'll still love it because it's what you loved in childhood. Like I remember like PS1 games. I remember thinking this is the best graphics they're ever gonna get. This looks amazing, and then you see like the Rock come out like this blockhead, and you're all it's like, oh, we've evolved.
The old WWE games, yeah, we just like holy, just like fucking polygons with just like the Rock's face imposed on it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Still better graphics than 2K20.
Dude, right, that's taking me back to PlayStation 1. Before the evolution of the games, when you actually had to do like Street Fighter style directions to do a super move or something, a way down towards to do the switch in music.
Yeah, like the what was that PS1 game? It was like a Mortal Kombat style wrestling game. I think it was in your house, like PS1 in your house.
Yeah,
that was such a fun game to play. There wasn't enough roster, unfortunately, but it was a really good game for what it was, obviously at the time.
Yeah. Dude, but like I said, the nostalgia thing, you do tend to remember things better than they were sometimes. But then again, other things like the Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka, some people could be nostalgia blind for that. But I just think it's probably the same as yourself. It's just that good. There's nothing to do with nostalgia. Just it's timeless. It doesn't matter how old it is or when you first saw it. So good is good. So that's
I think if you showed a child it now, it's I wasn't really. If you showed them, there's no way that I refuse to believe any adult in the world has not seen Willy Wonka's Gene Wilder's Loot.
It's one of those films where you just presume you go into a conversation presuming everybody's seen it. You've got to. It's one of those things where you're just like, right, yeah, I'm going to start talking about this film. I'm going to presume you've seen it because why the hell would you have not?
Exactly. To be fair though, I think a lot of people would say that about me. I haven't seen like a lot of very classic movies, which I'm working my way through. But like, I haven't seen a lot of classic movies that a lot of people would be like, assume you would have seen it. Like, what? You haven't seen it? No, I don't. Because sometimes, like, I've not seen the Marvel movies because it's too much. Like, you have to devote your time. There's so many, and then the shows you got to follow, and the movies. I'm like, I can't. Like, I'll watch the old Marvel where they don't connect very well, like the old Spider-Mans, the old Fantastic Four, and stuff. The old Punisher with that class as Marvel. I think.
Well, it depends if you're talking Thomas Jane or you're talking Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren was Punisher in the 80s. Thomas Jane was Punisher late 90s, circa 90s.
Thomas Jane, then. I didn't know.
Yeah, there's Dolph Lundgren one. Dolph Lundgren one from the 80s. It's bad, mate. It's so bad.
I've never seen that.
Bad. You've got to watch it.
No, I meant the one where he stabs Kevin Nash and it was actually legit.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was proper like. Yeah, Thomas Jane or Tom Jane, whatever name he's going by this week. But that's still a Marvel film. But yeah, I get what you're saying, because you commit a lot of time. That's the thing about wrestling as well, though. Obviously, a lot of people sort of, I'm talking to them like, what do you watch now? What you're into? And then just like, some people will religiously watch a brand, like, you got your WWE fans, AEW, and you got other people who just go on YouTube or social media and just watch 2 or 3 minute clips here and there. So I think that's something that you guys have got to be so aware of as well, is just the attention span. When you're doing stuff, like you sort of said, 90-second promos or doing a slightly longer promo is that something you guys kind of think about now, or are you conscious of holding people's attention?
I'm mixed, because like for me, like I said, I like to put out the promos as like kind of like character building, and then like if someone doesn't watch it, like someone is fine, like but like it's just there. I just like to make it maybe experience wise. But I like, as time's going on, I really should be more conscious of like how much is done and everything. It's just I like the idea of the episode being episodes, but obviously because Bray Wyatt used to do them like longer or whatever, like 3-4 minutes. An easy thing to remember, or a good thing to remember, is I'm not Bray Wyatt. I'm not WWE. People aren't gonna sit there for 4 or 5 minutes and watch a CandyStan promo. I mean, someone might. I have multiple times over, but thank you. But like the majority won't. So it is something you have to be conscious of. Like I know I posted something on TikTok before. I don't really like TikTok, but I posted something on TikTok, and it tells you when someone clicked off. And the majority did, like, decent amount of people did watch like whole thing, but then like the majority, for like people who aren't fans of wrestling, they click off after like a couple seconds. It's just a scroll, just a swipe. So I think that's kind of something you have to be conscious of in anything really, but specifically if you're doing social media. But for me, like, I'm not a huge fan of social media. At the minute, I'm happy, just wrestling for Wrestle Island and just having like fun matches and stuff, and bringing the character a bit more, fleshing the character out a bit more, instead of just like a one-dimensional character.
That's it. And I think, obviously, like you say, you are doing it now. You're doing the promos. That's helping building the characters. You're having the matches. People are starting to get to, as I said before, they're starting to get behind you. They're starting to care. And when people start to care more, that gives you time. They will allow you more time to flesh it out. Because they care about you. They will sit there and listen to you talk. Or
Good point.
After a match, something like that. It just. Yeah, you have their attention now, so it allows you to be a bit more creative with it. But I think, obviously, the way that you're going, it's going to start. You're going to start getting this ripple effect. Like say you're having this match against Charles Crowley. People who have seen that, people will know about it. You've got this awesome character that kind of stands out. It's a kind of character as well that you could put on a poster, and people would be like, "All right, that's got my attention. What the fuck is this? Oh, it's a wrestling show. Oh,
there's a pantomime of this wrestling. What's going on here?"
Exactly, but it's made them pay attention to the poster. It's made them look at it. It's made them look at the details, and that's again half the battle, is getting people's attention on whatever it is you're doing, on your brand or the show that you're booked for, and stuff like that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I remember, and obviously it was mostly for the Crowley match. Like I said, he put me over massively. But there we go. The Pure Imagination match, the one that was initially supposed to, because it was the Pure Imagination card. But first off, I was like, holy hell, they've made a whole show centered around, the CandyStan, Willy Wonka type gimmick. I was at that. And then being on the poster and seeing myself on the poster next, not even just on the poster, me and Crowley were the biggest faces on it. And I was like, that was mind blowing. And then obviously, he got injured. Shit happened. Like, it had to be. And then I went against Pele, which was another great match. I loved him. And then the next show, because I don't know why it didn't cross my mind, but I was on it again. I was like, oh my God. I was on one of the little was it like squares, triangles, or whatever it is for like Squid Game.
Yeah.
I was
Green light,
so
red
it was
light thing.
it was a massive like full circle moment for me because when I used to, I wouldn't even really say wrestle. I was basically a trainee on shows. That's basically what I was back, like way back, like God knows how long ago now. I was like just a guy in tights, really. That was all I was. A guy in tights who couldn't wrestle for shit, who couldn't capture crowds, didn't care about capturing the crowd reaction, just cared about getting through a match and making my moves look cool and looking cool. That's not what gets the crowd involved. Exactly, yeah. But by the end of it, I was getting booed and I was the face. And then they were cheering the other guy. I was absolute dog shit. I'm not gonna lie. Boy, layman's terms, but like, but that guy would never have been on a poster, and then for the CandyStan to be on the poster, it was like you know what I mean, full circle moment.
Yeah, oh, definitely, dude. Like I said, that's why it stands out. It pops. It's one of those things. And again, it's stuff like that I love that visual kind of. You've got my attention now. What you're going to do with it, kind of thing. I think that's obviously what, like I said, the CandyStan character has done. It's got people's attention. People are paying attention to what's going on. They're starting to care. They're getting emotionally invested. We will allow you time to talk now. Build your character. Take it to the next level. Just keep elevating it up and up and up. I think you could run for miles with this. I think there's so much potential. The only thing I want to ask though is, are you able to kind of turn it off? Because I can imagine you kind of being sat there with just constantly with like a notebook open in your head kind of thing. If you're watching something and be like, right, I'll take some of that, I'll take some of that, I'll take some of that, I'll take some of that. never actually turn it off.
You mean like
are you able to just?
If I was watching I mean, I attribute everything to wrestling. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I use like a example to my fiance, it's always like, take wrestling for example. This and I mean, like, it might not even be about Eddie. It could be about like, I don't know, babies or something. Like take wrestling for example. This, do you know what I mean? Like you can attribute wrestling to anything really. When I watch wrestling, I am essentially studying, not like the newer shows, because then I'm kind of studying, but at the same time I want to see what I'm still invested in the stories. Like the whole, what story do I care about right now? Too many that's like the John Cena story, of course. Him coming back and being heel was like, that created a ripple effect, because then Sammy Blue turned heel. I was like, right, John Cena, thanks a lot. You know what I mean? I've been waiting years for Cena to turn heel, and now he's just come out and been like, yeah, I hate you all, thanks. Well, but yeah, so the Cena thing, when I watched like my jaw was on the floor when I seen Cena was like, yeah, and he hugged Cody, and as soon as he hugged Cody, I went, oh fuck, no, he's gonna turn heel. Well, I wasn't saying no, I was loving it. It's like there's no way. And then Rock did that. I was like, and I like almost woke my baby up, because I was like, yes, yes. Because originally I was a bit pissed. Like, it got me though. I was a bit pissed because I was like, so Cena said this is his farewell tour and he cares so much about the fans, but he's not fucking showing up. He's chosen movies over WWE. He doesn't fucking give a shit. Like, he's not. This is a shit fucking run. Yeah, exactly. And he had me in the palm of my hand, because then I was like, as soon as he turned heel, I was like, fuck, that makes a load of sense now. Best for business for me to win the Elimination Chamber and go on to WrestleMania and win the title. This and this. I'm not going to show up. And I was like, yeah, fair play. You got me, Cena. You got me, and everybody. Because I've seen so many people complaining about like how he wasn't there for his farewell tour, and that was why, because he was. And the way he came out as well, I was like, oh, I wonder what outfit he's gonna wear. I wonder what fucking song he's gonna have. I can't wait to see heel Cena. I'm so excited. And he comes out in his usual fucking outfit, usual song. Comes out, he's like, you get nothing. I'm staying this way. I'm like, bitch. Fuck. But he got us so much. I was like, damn, dude, that's so genius.
It's clever, isn't it? It's like you expect this kind of change of music, this change of characters, change of clothes, to go back to like the Thug Life thing, the original school. It's like, no, I'm going to stay like this because I know it's going to piss you off. So there we go. So yeah, you are still able to be emotionally invested then. If the storyline is good and you're interested, you can switch your brain off and you're not in study mode all the time.
Yeah, like Cody Roman was a massive one because that was up and down, wasn't it? That was because Cody lost. He wins the Rumble, they big it all up and everything, loses to Roman Reigns, and I'm like, well, fuck me, that story's dead. Then can't be ours, whatever. Yeah, I've been got so many times by wrestling. I'm not gonna lie, I've been fooled so much. I'm like, well, I don't care anymore about this, whatever, don't care. And then they got me again. I was like, okay, and he won the Rumble again. And I was like, okay, I'm back. And then they did the whole thing where Rock was like, oh, Cody was like, I want to face you, Roman, and beat you, but not at WrestleMania. What do you mean? You won the fucking match to win. What? That part was a bit stupid. I'm not gonna lie. That still doesn't make much sense. But they did eventually, obviously, fix that with, and it might have been the plan the whole time. Who knows? But the whole thing where he was like, I am facing Roman Reigns, and it's not. I'm not. Rocky, you're not facing him, and I was like, oh yeah, and I popped, and everyone popped, and it was me. And then obviously finally wins the title. Downhill from there. I'm not gonna like it's picking up back up again now, but like that, you know what it is, because that moment was so massive.
Yeah,
that like, how do you top that kind of moment? That's kind of what I was worried a little bit with the Crowley thing, is like, because it's happened so early, like such a monumental matchup has happened so early. I'm like, where the
Where'd
fuck
you
do
go?
I go now? Like, is it like, because I can't exactly. I'm trying to say it without offending anyone, because I think everyone in the British wrestling scene right now is amazing. It's just, how do you, even like 2-3 years from now, how do you even top that?
Yeah.
Like against someone like that? Because most people wouldn't go against like someone like Crowley until they're like 6th, 7th year in wrestling. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing I was pointing out earlier, mate. To get that match so early on in your journey, huge part of the back, mate. It's massive accomplishment. So, but yeah, it's the kind of like, it's a double-edged sword of like whatever. The only thing you can do now is hopefully, get a good storyline, get something to get your teeth into, and something you can build up gradually. So it's not about who you're facing. That's not the main. That's not the hook. The hook is what's going to happen next.
Exactly. Like, I would very much like to be. Obviously, it's up to Peter. Whatever happens, and I'll trust him because he's great. But like, I would have obviously like to be involved in stories, because, like I said, stories are a massive thing for me in wrestling. Like, I can still watch a match and enjoy it, but I'll watch a match and really, really enjoy it. My enjoyment will like go through the roof if there's like a really great story involved with it. Like, I'm not sure if it was a story really, because I didn't really keep up too much with it, but I really enjoyed, not necessarily the match, because I can't even remember the match, but the moment of Danielson versus Swerve at All In, I think it was.
Yeah.
With that moment where Danielson, wins. Did he win?
Yeah.
Yeah, he finally won the title, and then the whole, like final countdown, and amazing. But like, story, as go back to Triple H and Batista, the whole thing had me massively invested, and he puts him for the table. I was like, oh, and then he wins at WrestleMania. It's like, yes. And then they carried it on technically, like years and years down the line, for Batista's retirement match. It was just like, yeah, the story just really hooks you, and that's why I would really like to be involved in mostly stories going forward. It's not up to me,
Definitely.
but hopefully.
I'm just trying to think. Right, I'm sorry, mate. I've just clocked the time, so I will let you get on in a minute. But I'm just trying to think of, every good guy needs a nemesis. Every Spidey needs a Green Goblin. Every Batman needs a Joker. I'm trying to think who out there could be CandyStan's nemesis. Alter Ego. I'm just trying to think who I'd love to kind of see you. You mentioned Pele earlier. I just want to actually rewind that.
To say, actually. So you go.
What's that side?
No, you go on.
I was just saying, I just want to shout out Pele. We mentioned him earlier. I didn't acknowledge the comment of, but obviously your match against Pele.
I was gonna say, I feel like, and obviously I don't know, because I don't know like anything until like it's been said, but everything's there. But like, I don't know. It seems like that might be plausible. That might be like where everything's going. Is maybe CandyStan and Pele story. I could be wrong. It feels that way, just because like, if you've, like, the last show, and this could have been out of nowhere, I don't know, but I beat Crowley, and then I did the photos afterwards, and Crowley's like unconscious in the ring. And Pele comes in and he's screaming and crying. And he's holding his head like, no, no. You know what I mean? And it just feels like you could really build off of that, because I already had a match with him. You know, Crowley picked Pele to go against me. I beat him, Crowley, and then obviously Pele could be like, well, I'm pissed, and he is. I'm pissed that you beat Crowley. You know, like, I love Crowley, and I don't know, maybe. Other than that, I can't really think of anything.
I think, yeah, I love Pele. Anytime I'd get to see Pele, I'd love to see you two guys go at it again. And that would be, I think you could just, you'd work really well. You could kind of build something, not just in the ring, but promo wise, character wise, just to build up to the matches, the aftermath of the matches. Well, as you say, we trust in Peter. He's boss of what he does. He's done right by you so far. So I'm sure whatever it is.
Absolutely has.
Yeah, exactly. It's whatever is in store will be awesome as well. But dude, thank you so much for coming along and just sitting down and chatting shit with me for a while. Mate, it's been awesome.
Man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Loved it. Let people know where they can find you on Instagram, if you've got a Facebook page.
No, I really just have like a TikTok, which I don't really use, so I'm not gonna. But it's just CandyStan on that. And then Instagram, I believe it's just the CandyStan. I'm not saying like as the CandyStan or anything like that, but just the CandyStan, like that's.
It's the CandyStan, yeah.
And then real quick, I just wanted to mention, because I remember, speaking of the Crowley match being on the Island YouTube, the Island also has a Patreon.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure how much it is monthly, but I do know that you get never before seen training footage and stuff.
Yeah.
And was it $5 a month? Is it?
I think so,
Never before seen training footage. The shows go on there quite a bit earlier than they actually get uploaded to YouTube. I think like a good. I wouldn't say like consistently, but I would say like a good like month before or something, before they're actually on YouTube, which could even be helpful for like talent themselves, to get the footage early. And I know they've got a lot of good stuff coming to there as well.
That's it. Oh yeah, definitely shout out Wrestle Island. I'm sure it is a $5 because I've looked at it, and I've thought about it loads of times, because again, I know the stuff that is going to be quality. It's just I'm having to cut back on other stuff to be like, right, okay, you know what it's like when you shuffle stuff like, right,
I'm the exact same. That's the only reason I haven't subscribed to it. I've got Netflix and Prime and all this other stuff.
It's like, right, if I knock Netflix on the head off, if I knock £5 off Netflix and just watch some adverts occasionally, then I can get this. Right, here we go, shuffle it all around. Take the cheaper version, get more. But yeah, obviously check out Wrestle Island. I'll see if I can find actually the link and put it in the episode description as well. Anyway, so, and obviously when we upload this, my boy Ash on Instagram will tag you in on the Work the Left Side post for this episode. If you're not following CandyStan, please do so. Give the dude a follow, see what he's up to. Enjoy the awesomeness. And obviously, as always, you can find us on socials. You know where to find us by now. If you don't, again, just search Work the Left Side, will pop up. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the generic stuff that we always ask you to do. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Remember, always work the left side. Goodbye.